BlueCat administrators with a few easy steps can control and manage an F5 load balancer environment without having to go through a change control process on the F5 server. Let's dive right in. We will first configure an F5 LTM server in BAM and manage the associated virtual servers via BlueCat Address Manager. To add an F5 LTM server, we will first navigate to the Servers tab. Click on Add Server. From the profile, select Local Traffic Manager. Give the name of the LTM server. The management URL is HTTPS followed by the hostname or IP address of the LTM and the API endpoint of the LTM. Enter the username and password and click Add. To manage the virtual servers on the LTM via BlueCat Address Manager, go to the newly added LTM server. From the drop-down arrow, select F5 Service Configuration. From Service Type, select Configure Pool. This will list all the virtual servers in the LTM that has a pool associated with it. In our case, there are 3 virtual servers. Let us select BDDS-VIP-UDP as the pool members are the BDDS that are currently being load balanced. This displays the information pertaining to the selected virtual server. From here, you can choose to add a new member to the pool, remove existing member, or disable and enable an existing member. Let us disable one of the members. In this test, we will disable BDDS2. We will change the status from enabled to disabled and click Update. You can see that that same BDDS has now been disabled in the F5 environment. We will now remove that server. Let's navigate back to that same page. Click on Remove and hit Update. We can see that that same change is reflected in the F5 environment. This way, you can easily manage the F5 virtual servers from your BlueCat Address Manager. We will now configure an F5 Big IP DNS, also known as GTM. We will first navigate to the Servers tab and add a new server. From the profile, choose Big IP DNS. Give the name of the GTM server. The management URL is HTTPS followed by the hostname or IP address of the GTM and the API endpoint. Under Self IP, enter the self IP of the GTM server. This will be used for zone transfer. Enter the username and password. Add server. Now that we have added our F5 GTM server, we will need to configure a published interface. This publish interface will be used by the F5 GTM server to listen for any notifications from the primary server. Click on the GTM server. Under Interface, click Add Interface. Enter the host name. Enter the IP address. Add server. Now that we have fully configured our F5 GTM server, let's assign a secondary role in the zone example.com. We will select our F5 GTM server. We will select the listener interface since this is the publish interface. The primary will notify the secondary. Let's push a deployment. Now that we have successfully pushed a deployment, let's see if our zone is created in our F5 environment. We can see that we had a successful AXFR. Let's create a record in the zone to see an IXFR. Let's push a quick deployment. We can see we had a successful IXFR. Let's try to resolve that newly added record against our F5 DNS server. So there you have it. With BlueCat Address Manager, you have complete control of your DNS infrastructure even when the BDDs are load balanced under an F5 virtual server. You can utilize your existing big IP DNS as a secondary DNS box while managing the zone from Address Manager. Visit BlueCatNetworks.com to learn more.